fact, I've seen people that have studied this and say that on average, people, when you say a generalization, it's generally true like 80% of the time. And I'll say that almost everyone, we have one trait that is more consistent with the other gender that we're kind of switched on. That's normal for most of us. So for example, a generalization of men is that men are very physical, mechanically minded. They like to fix things. They like to build things. Home Depot, that's the ultimate store for men. That's where they go to buy their toys. their tools, the things they need. And that's what men do, right? And so we have that picture of masculinity. And I think of, Tim Allen and you think of that, even his Last Man Standing. And that's that picture of an outdoor man, hunter, builder. Now, that's generally true of most men. It's not true of me. I don't know how to fix anything. I don't know how to build anything. Yeah, it's like there's a few other can relate to me, and that's awesome. And the fact is that, it's like we have in our closet, we have, you change a light bulb, and it's like, that's good. And it's we got a fluorescent light bulb, and it's like, how do you fix it? I figured out how to fix it. I replaced a fluorescent light bulb. I was expecting a parade for my wife. It's like, I did something. That's good for me. And in fact, early on, she expected me to fix things, and we tried to do some things, and if it's at all more complicated, more than a light bulb, I think she realized, hey, let's call someone, because if you try to fix it, it's going to be more expensive to have the person come and fix your fixing than it would be just to call them from the onset. Now, I'm not good at that. Does that make me less masculine? No. Do I have to try to force it to be a real man? No, that's one aspect of generalization of masculinity that's not true of me, but it doesn't make me less masculine. Or in the same way, we have married couples, and pretty much every married couple, you're going to have one area that's traditionally more masculine, that the man is more feminine, and vice versa. That's almost reversed roles. So for example, later in this message, we're going to talk about communication and how we talk. And when Mike and Julie Slattery were here, they talked about that how women on the whole are more talkative than men. But they openly shared. Mike shared, that's not true in our marriage. He said, I'm the talkative one. I'm the one that wants to talk. She's the one that's quiet, internalizes things. Now, that doesn't make him less masculine, her less feminine. It doesn't mean that their marriage it just means that generalization is switched in their case. But even though while it's not 100% true, we still need to talk about it because it's generally true. And these differences are often places of misunderstanding and frustration. And so let me try to risk kind of going through some of those generalizations and some of those differences. And I'm going to start by trying to explain women, which I know is a really dangerous thing. In fact, I always thought I could do some research, and I found this book, Everything Men Know About Women. And I thought, okay, this is going to help me, because I read the back. It says, famed psychologist Alan Lovell Francis has written a landmark book on men's understanding of that most complex creatures, women, based on thousands of men from all over walks of life, and he presents the most complete picture ever revealed of men's knowledge of the opposite sex. And fiercely frank, brilliantly insightful, and it spells out, and I'm thinking, this is great, and then I open it up, it's all blank. Here's everything that men understand about women, okay? It's like, okay, that's kind of discouraging, and it's like, okay, well, but in spite of the fact that we willingly admit we don't know anything, let me try. Here's some generalization differences. Generally, women have an appreciation of beauty that men don't have. And there's this natural sense of beauty. I think about this. I was 27 when we got married. I had my own apartment that I owned. For a while, I lived there by myself, and I decorated it. And when I decorated it, I painted it all antique white, which is the perfect color. It never goes out of style. It goes with everything. And I didn't put any things on the walls, because if I put something on the wall, it just only creates a hole that has to be filled in later. I didn't want to do that. And but in my opinion, my apartment was decorated perfectly. And then I got married, and it all changed very quickly. Sandy comes in and she wants to paint in different colors. And the strange thing, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, she's talking about colors. I don't even know what the words mean. Again, men, we have an 8-color crayon box. That's the only colors I know: red, blue, yellow, black. And she's sitting there, well, but that's not the right color of blue. I'm like, it's blue. How do you have the wrong color of blue? It's like, and then she sends out some word that I don't even know what it means. And I'm like, oh yeah, whatever you say. And so she's putting, things on the walls and all kinds of decorations and buying things. And And even, for example, she comes in the bedroom and she's buying like all these pillows. Now, it's one thing to have, I like lots of pillows on my bed that you use, but she buys pillows you don't use. And it's like, why do you this is the room that nobody goes into, but you have pillows that nobody uses that you got to put on in the morning, and then you take off when you want to use the bed. That makes no sense to me. And I said, what are they? They said, well, they're pillow shams. No, they're pillow scams. You're spelling it wrong. It's like, that's the whole idea of it. And I don't understand it. That's way different. Women are way more in touch with their emotions. It's not that men are less emotional. We feel the emotions just like women do. We just don't know it. And so we are, and again, here's where like men have only an 8-color crayon box. We only have a 4-color emotion box. I know happy, sad, hungry, mad. That's about it. That's about, and so women are way more in touch. So they feel something, they can talk about it, express. And something would happen, and this still happens. Something happens that she looks at it and says, boy, that must be hard. How do you feel about it? And my honest response is, I don't know. How am I supposed to feel? I guess I'm supposed to have emotion, but I have no clue what it is, but she's aware and she draws that out. That's a difference. Or I can think of another difference is women are far more relational. They're wired to pursue relationships. Studies show that they on average use 2.5 more times words than men. And, so we come home at the day, we've used all words, we're done. She's just getting started. And what I see is a big difference with this. Sandy will get together with a friend and she'll say, hey, let's get together. Let's go out to lunch. I just want to spend time together. And that's what women do. Men never do that. You see, if I were to even approach a man and say, hey, Keith, let's get together. Let's have lunch. Well, the first question is why? What? What are we going to talk about? And if I say, I just want to spend time with you, it's going to be like, back away. That's scary to men. That's intimidating. Men don't do that, but women do. And so there's all these differences of the way that we're wired. Now we could talk about men, and we've kind of mentioned some of them. Men are, and we are less aware of our emotions. An advantage of that is that, that can make us more perseverant. That can, men can move forward even when someone is trying to hurt our feelings, when something difficult is happening. There's a sense that there's a positive of perseverance that comes with that. And again, it's not that we're less emotional, we're just less aware of that. That we're initiators. Men are the ones, so even when you think of who starts things and we're initiators. We're always like, what else can we do better? In parenting, you think about that, you have a child that falls down. And what happens? The woman comes and, I'm care for you, very compassionate. The dad's like, well, get up, move forward, keep trying. And there's a difference of the way that we see things, the way that we think. Men are generally physically stronger. We want to be the protectors. We're going to get up in the middle of the night and go downstairs and see, make sure that we're protecting our family. And here's what we need to realize. We need to recognize those differences, appreciate those differences, recognize that they're all created by God. And not only appreciating them, but if we appreciate them, then likewise we need to learn to value them. Then not only do I recognize that there's this difference, but God has put this person in my life who sees things from a totally different perspective. And the difference is by design, because I am healthier because of that person's perspective. You see, it's hard to understand, and because of that, it's easy to become frustrated because it's so different. But if I appreciate and then value, I realize that instead of resenting the difference and seeing it as a weakness, I value it as a strength, sometimes frustrating, but it helps me be a healthier person and have a healthier family. See, it means that I not only see Sandy has in her femininity things that I can appreciate, but they're things that I need, that bring help. And I might not even see that. So for example, how many men ever go into a room? Do you ever go into a room and think about, I wonder how that room smells? Do you ever think about that? Men, we don't do that. That's the beauty. Now women do. So Sandy will go out. She buys scented candles and scented, other oils and things like that. Now, my natural tendency, and especially early on, would be like, you spend $20 for scented wax? What a waste of money. It's like our budget, and I could naturally resent that. But over time, I've learned, hey, coming into the fall and smelling pumpkins better than smelling sweat. That's good. That's a good, my life is better because of how she perceived. Now, if I can resent it or I can value it. And God has called us to look at that and to recognize, okay, yes, she does things in our home, but my home beforehand, it was kind of boring. It was kind of ugly. I will now admit that. I'm thankful for what she's done. I'm sometimes frustrated, but I appreciate and I value that. And that makes our marriage better. It makes everything better.